My presentation is almost 3 or 4 slides. I'll begin with something new, which is urgent questions. So there are a group of questions to be asked to ourselves on what is the meaning of the knowledge economy, what is important, how can we apply it, and what are the mechanisms of this. Where we are now, I'd like to reformulate the questions that Dr. Abla has mentioned. What is the definition of wealth in the economy of knowledge? Does we mean that the development of computers in IT sector? This question means that I have to have a specific development in this sector. What are the main pillars for this sector? Does it mean the state has to be moved to not to economy of knowledge? Are these factors are very available to take this decision? Does those who are taking the decision have the comprehensive vision on taking this movement? Does the research in the current state of our education can reflect this? Does the institution and education percentages have can enable us in order to be able to take this decision? I'd like to make a presentation of Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. This speech was said by him in the conference of IBEC in the United States. And I'd like to have a look and scrutinize on this video. Let's see. This is translated, subtitling in Arabic.
It continues with Israel's strong economy. It's a tremendously strong economy. And I'll tell you, we made it stronger by moving Israel to free market principles, which unleashed the spark of genius embedded in our people into innovation, entrepreneurship. And there's a revolution taking place. This couldn't happen at the better time. Look at the 10 leading companies in 2006. 5 energy companies, one IT company, Microsoft. And a mere 10 years later, 2016, a blink of an eye in historical terms, it's completely reversed. 5 IT companies, 1 energy company left. The true wealth is in innovation. You know these companies, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook. Guess what? They all have research centers in Israel. All of them. Major research centers. And they're not alone. There are hundreds more. And there's a reason. Something is going on. It's a great change. You want to hear jargon? It's one sentence. This is a terrible sentence, but I have no other way to say it. It's the confluence of big data, connectivity, and artificial intelligence. Okay? Did you get that? Yeah. You know what that does? It revolutionizes old industries, and it creates entirely new industries. So here's an old industry that Israel was always great in, agriculture. We're always good in agriculture. But now we have precision agriculture. You know what that is? See that drone in the sky? He's connected to a big database. And there are sensors in the field. And in the field, there's drip irrigation and drip fertilization. And now we can target, with this technology, the water that we give, the fertilizer that we give, down to the individual plant that needs it. That's precision agriculture. That's Israel. Unbelievable. You know, we were always good in water. I want you to see how good we are. So we recycle almost 90% of our wastewater. The next country with less than 20% is Spain. You can see how Israel, what it does for water, what it does for the environment. So when you take these two things, agriculture and water, and the other technologies that we apply in both, we can change the world. We are. We are. I just heard about an African woman in Africa has to walk 8 hours a day to give water to her children. 4 hours one way to a well, 4 hours back. And a young Israeli company brought in this technology that improves on Moses. Remember Moses? He brought water from Iraq. They bring water from thin air. They bring water to Africa, to millions of people in Africa. Israeli technology. And I was just recently in India. That's my friend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Great friend. I'm showing him cherry tomatoes. This is in Gujarat, India. This is Israeli technology. And what I heard there was fantastic. Farmers came from the region. There's an experimental farm there and a place where Israel gives technology know-how to Indian farmers. 65% of India's population are farmers. And one farmer after the other gets up and says, because of Israeli technology, I've increased my crop yields and my income 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Israel is changing the world in India, in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, everywhere. These are the old industries. Now they're new industries. Israel is literally, how can I say this? Israel is literally driving the world. I'm talking about autonomous vehicles. Israel is a world leader in autonomous vehicles. 500 tech companies that sprang out almost instantaneously. And one of them, Mobileye, up there on the left, was just sold to Intel for the paltry sum of $15 billion. But the interesting thing is that Intel said to them, here are the keys to our 30 worldwide autonomous vehicle businesses. You run it. Israeli technology is driving the world. And one last industry, there are many more, but one more that you're all familiar with. You have bank accounts? You should. Okay. Well, you don't want anyone hacking into them, right? Or into your cars, or into the planes you ride. You need cyber security. Everybody needs cyber. Israel has become a world leader in cyber security. Look at how much they invest in the hundreds of Israeli startup companies, tremendous companies. But here's another factor that you should know. Israel's population is how much? Who knows? Class? 8 million. It's closer to 9, but it's about between 8 and 9 million. That's correct. And what percentage of that is of the world's population? Oh, come on. It's 1/10 of 1%. So what percentage do we get of the world global investment in cybersecurity, in private investment in cybersecurity? We're 1/10 of 1% of the world's population, and we get a whopping 20% of global private investment in cyber. We're punching 200 times above our weight. Not 2 times, not 10 times, not 100 times, 200 times above our weight. That's one heck of a punch. Very strong.
Is this clear? I'm so sorry that you are now very trouble. It's very sure that this billion is making 3 billion GDP. It is not included in the G20. He is focused on the RD. But let's focus item by item. What is the definition of the wealth, investment, and the human resources? Is this the development in only the IT sector? It is anything that I can develop and to do the innovation, it will turn us into the economy of knowledge. Do you remember the story of the magician of Turkey? This is a Turkish magician. It's told by a snake, you have to develop that something. It is not found anywhere. How can the state move to the knowledge of economy? Does it mean it has to move to the economy of wealth? No, it does not mean that. You can generalize, and you can generalize the sectors you are developing, such as Netanyahu has proud of every sector. He is also try to make a wealth out of the gas. Do you hear that he mentioned that the Israeli government? No, he always talk about the companies and the corporations, how to move to the free state by 100%. He does not have any word talking about the Israeli government. The education system, the next slide will talk about, but I'd like to mention that what is the basic item? It is that the innovations and also the entrepreneurship, the innovation must come through developing the human capital. This is a wealth, which is the economy of knowledge is built on. This slide I have got from, this is a group of countries, this is the GDP, this is the percentages in 2017, and the wealth and its value. You will find that the biggest country as a percentages on R&D is Israel. But the biggest country in terms of value from the GDP is the United States, $527 million. What about Egypt? Emirates is 3.2. You have not achieved 1.6. Dr. Abla well hurts me because we did not achieve this, the half of this percentage. But this percentage I have get from the UNESCO website. I have almost finished, but I will say just one slide. Have you heard about this subject? That the kilogram is no more a measure of biomass. Have a video. There is no one. The kilogram will be no more as a measure of biomass. The alternative method will be the variable of blank beginning from 2019. What is the story? The kilogram is considered one of the basic measures of the international system, which includes meter, second, mole, ampere, and candle. These measures are guaranteeing the measuring. The kilogram is only the unit comparable with a platinum component and radium. It is deposited in the international office in France since 1873, and it is known as Lego King, and this cannot be taken out of this office. 40 representations of the kilograms have been fabricated, and when they discovered the kilogram, they discovered that it becomes less than by 50 grams. This is considered not that much, but it is a big problem, but it will be very significant in the medical sector, for example, and this is make scientists try to fabricate another unit, and the scientists agreed to alternate the kilogram with another unit of measure. It is called the fixed measure of blank, and it will be measured through a very accurate device. This will affect on the sectors of fabrications like the medications and the technology of nano and the very micro scientists. That meaning that the ordinary persons will not affected by this change in buying and selling. A question to you: where is the economy of knowledge here? What is make generation in this sector is the one who will have the most benefits, who will try to fabricate the new measurements, and you will be very far. What about the new measure used by all the humanity? measuring in every aspect beginning of 20th of May 2019. It will be built on this knowledge that we know nothing about. Thank you.
Dr. Khaled, you have caused us certain, such a complex, psychologically speaking, now you're giving us. I'll just say one word. I remembered it while you were talking that in 2004 I was in the Modern Research Center. I was head of the policies unit, and we were putting forward the strategy for innovation policy in Egypt. We've had one of our experts, and he was assessing all the situation, and we defined innovation as change, a certain change where you can have added value, add the profit, less the cost, whatever. Rationally, we said that this should be subjected and proposed to the research center. We had a meeting. The minister and big hits, of course, attended. The minister of scientific research and higher education, and we went to the academy of the research, and the man, proposed his presentation. But the discussion was concerning what issues. He has mentioned that we had 3,000 scientists, and the argument was whether we have 3,000 scientists or 3,200. All the dialogue was not more about defending the numbers, and not one word, We were arguing about the numbers. We want to say that this was hair splitting issues, and this is at least we are. In general, we are still very low ranking, but we do have a problem. Yes, we do have a problem.